Here's how to apply for temporary disability insurance online. We recommend you watch the entire video before applying. You can see timestamps that outline each topic in the video description. Throughout this video, we use the term disability to include pregnancy and recovery from childbirth, which are both covered under this program. Keep an eye out for pregnancy tips throughout the video. Before applying, review the eligibility requirements at myleavebenefits.nj.gov. You can apply online or by paper. When deciding which works best for you, consider the following. When applying online, you'll get immediate confirmation that we received it and our system prevents you from accidentally skipping questions. The online application works best with Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, or Mozilla Firefox browsers. We don't recommend using your phone. When you apply by paper, you are not required to provide demographic information like race, gender, and ethnicity. In the online application, there are limited options for this information. You can file your application on your first day of disability leave or within 30 days after your disability begins. For scheduled medical procedures or pregnancy and childbirth recovery, you can draft your online application up to 60 days in advance of your leave. Be sure to view the important tips in this video on how to save your draft and certify your claim once your leave begins. You'll need about 30 minutes to file your application. The application is divided into 3 parts. First, you'll provide personal information. Next, you'll provide information about your reason for leave. Lastly, you'll answer questions about your employment history. Once you've filed, your medical provider will also have to provide information before we can review your application. When you start your application, do not click your browser's back arrow or you may have to restart your application. To return to a prior page, click the gray section tabs on the top of the page or revise your answers when prompted on each section's summary page. To begin, go to myleavebenefits.nj.gov/TDI and click Start an Application. Create an online profile or log into an existing profile. To create an account, click Account Setup on the login page and enter the requested information. Log in and read the instructions carefully. Then click the box at the bottom of the page to continue. First, confirm your Social Security number, name, and date of birth. If this information is incorrect, select No and provide the correct information. If it is correct, select Yes and continue. Next, enter demographic information. This information is only for data and reporting purposes. It does not affect your eligibility for benefits. Answer if you are a resident of the United States. Your answer to this question will not affect your eligibility for benefits. Provide your home address where you currently reside. This cannot be a P.O. box. You can provide a different address for your payment to be mailed to. This can be a P.O. box. Next, answer if you are a citizen of the United States. You need a valid Social Security number to apply for temporary disability insurance. If you're not a U.S. citizen, you'll need to answer additional questions including your alien registration number and the dates of your work authorization. Next, enter your contact information. Don't use a work number because we may contact you while you are on leave. Enter the email address used to create your account. You can list a trusted representative on your application, such as a loved one, social worker, or caseworker. This person can contact us with questions on your claim, and we can share information over the phone. Include your representative's name, date of birth, and phone number. We can only share information about your claim with you and the person you list as your representative. Review your profile information carefully. Click Edit and make corrections if necessary. When all personal and contact information is correct, select Yes. Click Continue at the bottom of the screen. Now you'll provide information about your disability. When we say disability, we mean the physical or mental health condition that causes you to stop working. This includes pregnancy and childbirth recovery. First, select the date your disability began and you stopped working. This must match the date your medical provider certifies on their forms. For pregnancy, this is not always your due date. Typically, a medical provider may certify that a pregnant worker's first date of disability is up to 4 weeks before their due date. It could also be more if there are complications with the pregnancy. You may draft your application early for pregnancy or scheduled medical procedures. In this case, put the date your disability will begin. Select that your disability relates to pregnancy or a scheduled medical procedure. If you're drafting your application for a future date, you must complete all questions and get your claim ID within 14 days of starting the application draft, otherwise your draft will be deleted. Next, select the date you last worked before your disability began. Your last day of work is the last date you performed your job for your employer. Your last date of work is not the last day you were paid or the last day you were employed. Finally, let us know if you returned to work or recovered from your disability. This must match the date your medical provider certifies. For pregnancy and childbirth recovery, this typically is 6 to 8 weeks after you give birth, but could be more with complications. If you answer yes, provide the date that you returned. This cannot be a future date. If you answer no, put the date you expect to return to work. We won't cut off your benefits based on this date, it's just used as a reference point. Before continuing, check that your date of disability is correct. You will not be able to change your date of disability once you move on from this page. Next, provide a brief description of your disability, including pregnancy and childbirth recovery. List the doctor, hospital, or other healthcare provider treating you, and their address and phone numbers. Also include if you were treated in a hospital or emergency room, and if so, the dates of treatment. If your hospital or ER treatment was a one-day occurrence, enter the same date into the to and from fields. Tell us if you have filed or plan to file a workers' compensation claim for a work-related injury or illness. If yes, you will need to answer a few more questions. Fill out the name of your employer where the work-related injury or illness occurred, their address, and their phone number. Include the date of your work-related injury. State if you filed a workers' compensation claim and if you received a determination. You cannot receive benefits from workers' compensation and temporary disability insurance benefits at the same time. Next, let us know if you received or applied for any other benefits since your disability began. If you select yes, you will have to include your information on each of these benefits. State if you've received or applied for temporary disability benefits in other states. If you receive benefits from another state, New Jersey benefits may be reduced or denied. Next, state if you received or applied for temporary disability benefits from an employer or a union. If you had filed a claim for or are receiving Social Security disability benefits, include when these benefits will start. You can also say that your status is pending. You can receive state temporary disability benefits in the meantime, but you cannot receive both at the same time. If you've received or applied for unemployment insurance benefits, you will also need to disclose that as well as information about your claim. To learn more about how you will be paid, visit mileybenefits.nj.gov/yourpayment. FICA and Medicare taxes are automatically deducted from temporary disability benefit payments. In addition to these deductions, you have the option to withhold federal income tax from your weekly benefit amount of at least $20 per week. The number you enter is how much will be withheld from your benefit amount each week. It cannot be adjusted after a payment is issued. Adjustments can only be made to future scheduled payments. Review the disability information you entered and make changes if necessary. Next, provide your employment information. You'll see a list of employers we have wage records for. When prompted, enter details for each employer, including their name, address, and phone number. Select when you worked for this employer. Your last day should be the last day you performed work for your employer. Then select why you stopped working. When providing a reason for the most recent employer that you are taking disability leave from, select illness or injury. This includes taking leave due to pregnancy and childbirth recovery. Select if your separation is permanent. Enter your physical work location. List the department, section, division, or unit you worked for. If you are a union member, enter your union information. Next, we ask information about your work schedule. Select whether you are full-time or part-time and the typical hours you work. If you don't have typical work hours, leave those boxes empty and select Schedule varies from week to week. Indicate if you were paid for any days off after your last day of work outside of your regular wages. In this section, we want to learn about any paid time off such as paid sick, vacation, severance, or donated leave. If you have received this type of pay, provide the dates you received it. If you received payment for one day, enter that day in both the from field and the to field. These dates must be after your last day of work. For reference, your last day of work will be highlighted on the calendar. There are several options for the type of payments. They include paid time off, which includes vacation, sick, or personal leave, supplemental benefits or gratuities, like a bonus, difference between regular weekly wage and temporary disability benefits. This means your employer supplements your temporary disability benefits so that you make your full wages. Full salary advance, meaning your employer provides your pay up front while you wait to receive temporary disability benefits. Once you're approved for temporary disability benefits, you would pay back your employer. Donated leave. This is employer paid leave a coworker donates to you to use. Select the type of payment you received. Insert the total amount you received for each set of dates. Next, let us know if you received or applied for pension benefits from your current employer. If yes, you'll answer a few follow-up questions. If your employer contributes to your pension, it could reduce your disability benefit amount. If your employer does not contribute to your pension, it will have no impact on your claim. State if you worked intermittently since your disability leave began. If so, enter those dates and the total amount of earnings you received. You cannot receive benefits for those dates. You can only list dates that already occurred and not future dates. Select if you are involved in a labor dispute with your employer. In other words, if you were on strike from your employer. Review your employer information and check that it is accurate. If you have other employers, fill out this information for each of them. If an employer from the 18 months before your claim is not listed, add them now. After entering your employer information, click the confirmation button at the bottom of the page. If you're starting your application before a future disability date, your draft will be saved once you've completed this step and received your claim ID. Next is the most important step, certifying your claim. If you started a draft application, the certification screen will be unavailable until after your first day of leave. Return within 14 days after the start of your leave to certify and file your claim. To return to your draft to certify, go to myleavebenefits.nj.gov/TDI and click Finish an application you started. To certify your claim, click Yes and File My Claim on the certification screen. You'll see a confirmation screen with a claim identification number at the bottom of the page. Keep this claim identification number for your records. If you gave an email address, you'll get a summary of your claim information emailed to you, which includes your claim identification number. If your most recent employer has a private disability insurance plan, this page will look a little different. If so, contact your employer about applying for temporary disability benefits through their approved private insurance carrier. Wait, you're not done yet. You will see a blue link at the top of the page that says, "Click here to print the online filing instructions for your physician." This is also called the MO1 form. This is the filing instructions for your medical provider. The filing instructions have a unique code called the Form ID that your provider needs to submit with their part of the application. This Form ID is different from your claim identification number. Be sure not to confuse the two. If you see additional blue links, click on the link to download and complete the form. Use the Access Claim Documents feature at myleavebenefits.nj.gov/TDI to return to any of these forms later. Remember to download and print the medical provider's filing instructions and any other forms, certify your claim, check the status of your application at myleavebenefits.nj.gov. We hope this guide has been helpful to you. Listen to our podcast series to learn more about our programs at myleavebenefits.nj.gov/podcast. Thanks for watching.